Archangel Michael says, someone you know has not closed their eyes properly since that moment you spoke those words. It wasn't a scream. It wasn't even anger. But your words pierced them deeper than a knife ever could. They're pacing in circles, haunted by the exact tone you used, the way you looked, the silence that followed. Each night since then, the shadows in their room have started to feel heavier. They hear echoes of your voice in places where sound shouldn't exist. They see your face in their mind like a stamp on the back of their eyelids. Type Amen to get blessing 333. They underestimated you before. Now they can't sleep because they know the truth you spoke is setting something powerful in motion. Their reality is shifting and they're not prepared for the consequences. You may not have intended for your words to shake them like this. But heaven made sure those words were wrapped in divine fire. That person felt it in their spirit even if they acted cold on the surface. Archangel Michael says, they now know you saw something others missed. You spoke not from emotion but from a place they cannot reach, a higher place. And they haven't been able to sleep soundly ever since. Type Amen to get blessing 447. They're replaying everything. The way you paused before speaking. The slight change in your breathing. The power in your voice. They realize they dismissed someone carrying a divine flame. They scroll through your old messages in silence. They hesitate before calling your name. They're afraid because they know your soul is awake while theirs is trapped in unrest. The pillow they lay on feels like judgment. The bed doesn't bring comfort anymore. They try distracting themselves with meaningless noise, but your voice breaks through every time. They didn't know you were sent to their life as a mirror. Now they see every flaw of theirs reflecting through the words you delivered. Type Amen to get blessing 772. There was a moment in your conversation that felt like thunder cracking through calm skies. You said something so subtle but it cracked open a truth they were hiding even from themselves. They thought they could hide behind smiles. But that one sentence you spoke followed them home like a ghost. Even now, their heart skips when they recall it. Archangel Michael says, you didn't even know the full power you carried when you said it. But your spirit was carrying a sacred truth. It stirred something ancient and unforgettable in them. They thought time would make it fade. But instead, time made it echo louder. Type Amen to get blessing 903. The clock hits midnight and they feel your energy pressing down again. Your name dances on their tongue, but they don't speak it aloud. They fear invoking more of what they already can't handle. Sleep avoids them like peace avoids guilt. They tried remedies, prayers, distractions. But nothing could quiet that voice within that keeps shouting what you said. You didn't speak to hurt them. But your words carried fire that melts deception. Now they realize the game is over. They used to sleep peacefully thinking they were in control. That illusion is shattered. Type Amen to get blessing 1211. Their mind turns restless, hunting for ways to erase the past. But the past won't let them go. Because the past includes you, and you were their divine wake-up call. They avoid mirrors now. Not because they hate their reflection, but because they remember you said, "Look again." That moment triggered a storm within them. Archangel Michael says, your words were marked with destiny. You didn't just speak, it was prophecy unfolding in front of them. That's why they can't unhear it. They remember how calm you looked. That calm felt like thunder disguised as a breeze. It shook their soul. Type Amen to get blessing 1313. Some people around them started noticing the change. Their eyes look heavier. Their replies are slower. Their smile doesn't reach their eyes anymore. They tried to pretend nothing changed. But late at night, they hear the ticking clock like a countdown. A countdown to confrontation. They know they will see you again. That thought both terrifies and thrills them. Because they are not sure if they want redemption or escape. Your presence lingers like unfinished business. Type Amen to get blessing 888. They now believe in energy, because yours is haunting theirs. They feel you when they sit alone. They feel you when someone speaks the truth. They feel you when lies don't satisfy anymore. They ask themselves silently, what if they were right? But they bury the thought because it's too real. You expose their inner truth. They can't even look at certain places without thinking of you. That place where you both talked is now sacred ground to them. A battlefield of memory. Archangel Michael says, you didn't speak from ego. You spoke from awakening. And your words cracked open a soul asleep for too long. Type Amen to get blessing 666. They didn't respond immediately. They thought staying silent gave them power. But now that silence has turned into torment. They remember every second now. The way your lips moved. The exact tone. The stillness after. They remember how everything in the room felt different after you spoke. They are waking up at strange hours now. Sweating. Palms trembling. Their dreams are not dreams anymore, they're visions of regret. Every time their eyes close, your words knock at their soul. Type Amen to get blessing 424. You weren't just a passing storm in their life. You were the lightning that illuminated their hidden path. And once light touches darkness, it cannot go back to sleep. They now understand you carried more than just emotion, you carried divine truth. Truth that rearranged their inner world. They sit by the window, asking the wind if it remembers your voice. They feel embarrassed, but the air reminds them of that moment. Archangel Michael says, they will not rest until they make peace with what you awakened. And peace won't come until they honor the truth. Type Amen to get blessing 300. Your words were not loud, but they were permanent. You didn't yell, but what you said screamed into their destiny. They've lost count of the nights. 1 became 2. 2 became 10. Now they fear sleep because they know your truth will greet them there again. They are watching you from a distance now. Hoping for one more chance to speak. Not to argue, but to understand. They want closure, but deep down, they want connection. Type Amen to get blessing 777. They are battling themselves. One part wants to forget you, the other part knows they can't. Your voice lives in both their fear and their hope. You didn't curse them, you woke them. But awakening is not comfortable. It is fire. It is transformation. The tears they hide at night are not just from sorrow, they're from surrender. They are slowly surrendering to the truth you handed them. Archangel Michael says, this was divine orchestration. You were placed in their life for that exact moment. And you fulfilled it. Type Amen to get blessing 990. Now they are starting to change. Not because they want to, but because they have to. Your words are leading them into becoming someone new. They might reach out to you soon. Not with excuses, but with awareness. Because now they see. They may not admit it yet, but they cherish your honesty. Because in a world full of masks, you showed them their real face. They don't want to live in denial anymore. Type Amen to get blessing 111. This sleepless journey is leading them to their truth. And that truth started with you. You were the ignition. They may try to thank you one day. Or they may remain silent forever. But what's certain is, they will never forget what you said. It wasn't just words. It was a spiritual sword. It cut through everything false. And it set something holy in motion. Archangel Michael says, they still carry the weight of it. But one day, it will become their wings. Type Amen to get blessing 222. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. They are still tossing in their sheets, haunted by the moment that cannot be undone. What you said wasn't decorated with anger or accusation, it was raw truth, unfiltered and undeniable. It followed them home and now lives in the corners of their mind like a quiet storm. They cover their ears at night, but the silence brings your voice louder. They light candles to push away the memory, but your words flicker in the flame. Everything they do to forget only reminds them more. Their dreams are now twisted echoes of what you said. Faces blur, time melts, but your voice stays sharp. It's not pain anymore, it's reflection forced upon them by your spirit. Type Amen to get blessing 555. Archangel Michael says, you are being remembered more than you know. Not just by this person who can't sleep, but by the energy of the universe that reacted to your words. Because you didn't speak for reaction, you spoke to awaken. That night, the air grew still. That moment, even heaven paused. And they felt something in their soul unlock, something they can't hide from anymore. Now every ticking second mocks their silence. They should have replied. They should have looked into your eyes longer. But they chose avoidance, and now avoidance is their prison. They scroll past your name online but hover before blocking. Something within them whispers, don't erase the one who changed you. Type Amen to get blessing 717. They tried to find comfort in other people's words, but nothing matched the precision of yours. Yours weren't rehearsed. They were real. They came from somewhere high above their understanding. Even songs remind them of that night. The lyrics strike too close. The melodies bring tears they can't explain. Their closest friends ask if something is wrong. They smile, nod, pretend. But inside, they are unraveling, string by string. You said the right thing at the right time. That's what makes it unforgettable. That's why sleep has left them. Type Amen to get blessing 1212. They wonder if you've forgotten it. But your calm now makes it worse. Because you look untouched while they are drowning in the aftermath. You carry peace, and that peace exposes their unrest. You became the evidence of their delay in transformation. Archangel Michael says, their spirit is still clinging to a version of themselves that your words destroyed. Now they are grieving what you buried with one sentence. Their soul is restless because it knows change must come. And you were the divine spark that started the fire. Type Amen to get blessing 444. In the hours between midnight and dawn, they sit in stillness. But your voice is never still. It moves like wine through their thoughts. It rattles the windows of their denial. They whisper your name sometimes. Not in love or longing, but in recognition of the lesson. You were not just a chapter, you were the shift. They check their phone often, waiting for a sign from you. Even though they don't admit it, they hope you reach out. Just to hear your tone again. Just to feel a little less haunted. They didn't expect your words to live this long. But they do. And they are changing everything. Type Amen to get blessing 2020. They went to bed strong but woke up broken. All because of you. You reminded them who they are and what they're not. They look at your photos, hoping to understand how someone like you could see so deep. But they can't decode it. You are not someone to be understood. You are someone to be felt. Archangel Michael says, you didn't confront them to win. You confronted them to release. And the release set a storm inside them that hasn't settled yet. They never told anyone how badly it shook them. But the shadows under their eyes are proof. Type Amen to get blessing 1441. There is something sacred about truth. It sticks to the soul. It doesn't need to shout, it just exists in quiet power. That's what you gave them, sacred truth. Now they are learning how to rebuild on what remains. But sleep won't come until they do. They may try to mimic your calm. They may try to fake peace. But their soul remembers how you made them feel, and it can't lie to itself. What you said has become their turning point. Type Amen to get blessing 939. Sometimes, they sit in front of their own reflection trying to reenact the moment. Trying to say the words you said. But it never sounds the same. It never feels the same. Because only you were chosen to speak them. And only their soul was chosen to receive it. That's why it hit them so deeply. They're searching for books, teachers, signs, but none match the fire you carried. They are finally starting to realize that what they need is not more words. What they need is to act on yours. Archangel Michael says, you triggered their awakening. Now they must walk through the fire. Type Amen to get blessing 1717. Their body is exhausted, but their spirit is wide awake. The sleep they lost is not from anxiety, it's from divine unrest. The soul can't rest until it's realigned. And your words were the realignment. That's why they keep reliving it. They tried to go on with their life like nothing happened. But their own energy refuses to cooperate. Every time they laugh, they feel guilt. Every time they plan, they feel doubt. You opened their third eye, and now everything looks different. Type Amen to get blessing 121. Their old routines feel empty. Their conversations sound shallow. The things they once enjoyed now feel pointless. Because after you spoke, they tasted truth, and nothing else satisfies anymore. They stare at the stars some nights, wondering if you're doing the same. They won't admit it, but part of them believes you can feel their confusion across the sky. Archangel Michael says, this connection isn't random. It's written. And the sleepless nights are the signs that your words reached the deepest layer of their being. Type Amen to get blessing 5555. They haven't told anyone the full story. Because how do you explain that someone's words changed your life in a second? How do you explain that you fear and need that person at the same time? They want to forget, but memory refuses. They want to move on, but energy doesn't lie. You are embedded in their spirit. They didn't want it, but it happened. And now, they are rebuilding themselves with your voice as the foundation. You were the message. You were the mirror. You were the thunder in disguise. Type Amen to get blessing 808. They are writing messages they'll never send. Practicing apologies they may never deliver. Imagining reunions they don't have the courage to face. But all the while, their heart beats in a new rhythm. A rhythm your words created. They walk through each day hoping for a moment that will erase the one they can't forget. But nothing comes close. Your moment still reigns over their memory. Archangel Michael says, this was no coincidence. You were chosen to disrupt the cycle. Type Amen to get blessing 2024. And now, disruption is doing what it does best, forcing evolution. Even if you never speak again, they will carry your voice for the rest of their life. Your words have moved into the architecture of their soul. Every heartbeat, every breath now dances to the rhythm of your revelation. And slowly, painfully, beautifully, they are becoming new. You were the shift. You are the fire. And they will never be the same again. Type Amen to get blessing 1111. They still hear it, the softness, the weight, the raw certainty of what you said. It plays over and over like a haunting lullaby that refuses to soothe. What you released into the air didn't just vanish, it transformed the air around them. Even when surrounded by people, they feel alone. Because no one else heard what you said the way they did. No one else was marked by it like them. The quiet of the night doesn't comfort them anymore. It amplifies every syllable you spoke. The silence after your words feels louder than any sound they've ever known. Type Amen to get blessing 3333. They tried to distract themselves with noise, with company, with motion. But nothing worked. Your voice cut through it all like a divine thread sewn directly into their consciousness. They wonder if they deserved it. Not because it was cruel, but because it was honest. And honesty feels like a mirror that shows too much too fast. Archangel Michael says, some truths don't wait for permission, they arrive like prophecy and force the soul to change. That's what your words did. They can't find peace because they now know peace was never in the lie. Type Amen to get blessing 1919. Each day since, they carry a heaviness no one else sees. It's not depression, it's revelation. Your voice lives in the background of their every decision. They pause before speaking now. They hesitate before lying. They hesitate before pretending. Because your truth taught them that pretending leads nowhere. Even food doesn't taste the same anymore. Laughter feels thinner. Joy feels delayed. All because their soul is begging for alignment with what you revealed. Type Amen to get blessing 606. They tried to move forward in their old life, but something keeps pulling them back. It's not guilt, it's awakening. They realize now that your silence afterward was louder than any reply. You didn't chase. You didn't demand. You released and stepped back, and that's what shook them most. Archangel Michael says, your strength didn't lie in confrontation. It lay in clarity. And clarity is unforgettable. They see your image in unexpected places. In dreams. In crowds. In reflections. As if the universe itself is echoing the lesson. Type Amen to get blessing 2727. They have started writing in journals they never used before. Not poems. Not plans. But reflections. Trying to understand how someone could know them so deeply with so few words. They know they wronged you. Even if they never say it aloud. Their spirit confesses it every single night. There are tears they haven't cried yet. Because they're afraid if they start, they won't stop. And all those tears are because of one moment, that moment with you. You unlocked something ancient. Now they can't go back to pretending. Type Amen to get blessing 1313. They've begun to speak slower. Think deeper. Notice more. They're not the same. The version of them you met is slowly dissolving. And the new one that is emerging is built from the seeds your words planted. They feel grateful and guilty all at once. Because while they lost you, they gained the truth. Archangel Michael says, not all separations are punishment. Some are sacred activations. You were their sacred flame. Type Amen to get blessing 1010. They keep checking the calendar, counting the days since it happened. But time hasn't made it easier. Time has only sharpened the weight of your truth. They can no longer ignore the parts of themselves they used to hide. You dragged their shadow into the light. And though they resisted, their soul knows it was necessary. They pray now. Not out of routine. But out of a real desire to change. They pray because your voice made them confront their inner world. And that confrontation is now leading to a rebirth. Type Amen to get blessing 3000. Sometimes, they wonder what would have happened if they listened sooner. If they had received instead of rejected. If they had responded instead of retreating. But regret is now their teacher. And your words are their lesson. Every sleepless night is part of their training. They still dream of making it right. Of seeing you again. Not to argue, but to honor what you sparked. They want your forgiveness, even if they can't find the courage to ask. Type Amen to get blessing 2121. They started listening to the wind differently. Watching the sky more. Reading between lines. They've begun to notice the invisible threads of spirit that you were already fluent in. Your presence is still guiding them. Even from afar. Even in silence. Archangel Michael says, your spirit reached them in a way few ever could. You weren't just a person, they now realize you were a divine appointment. And that appointment changed the course of their life. Type Amen to get blessing 616. They know now why sleep has left them. It's because truth doesn't rest until it's honored. Your words created a sacred unrest. And that unrest is becoming their salvation. You didn't curse them, you awakened them. You didn't punish them, you purified them. Your words were the match, and now they are walking through the fire. They are not ready to say thank you yet. But they will be. Type Amen to get blessing 171. They still think of you in the quietest moments. When no one's watching. When the world is asleep. That's when your words return the strongest. They don't hate you. They don't blame you. They revere you. Because they now understand you were the shift. They are waiting for the courage to become what your words saw in them. And until they reach that place, sleep will continue to be a stranger. Archangel Michael says, you shook the foundations of their false self. And now, only the truth will survive. Type Amen to get blessing 4040. And in that survival, they are being rebuilt. Not by force, but by spirit. Not by pressure, but by divine design. You were not a storm, you were the calm before the storm. And your calm brought clarity. They don't need to see you again to be changed. Because you already planted what needed to grow. The rest is their journey now. But one thing remains, they will never forget what you said. Not ever. Type Amen to get blessing 7007.